Your story begins in warm, tea-colored water, where reeds whisper and dragonflies trace question marks in the humid air. You'd think that's poetic. It isn't, it's camouflage. Because you are not a river spirit, not a forest prince, not even a main character. You are a capybara, the world's largest rodent, a creature evolution designed by taking a guinea pig, clicking scale up to 11, and then leaving halfway through the tutorial. You were born into a crowd. Not a cozy family. A crowd. Capybaras come in herds, and your herd has opinions about everything. Who's chewing too loud? Who has the best tuft on their head? Which patch of grass is the one true grass? Your mother looks at you with a level of affection that says, if you can walk, you can keep up. And you can walk, almost immediately. Because nature's memo to capybaras reads, congratulations on being born. Predators start in 5 minutes. From day 0, the world treats you like a warm, edible couch. Birds land on your back as if you're public seating. Turtles climb aboard because, apparently, you're also a ferry service. Monkeys stop by to check the tuft on your head, which is capybara social media. Everyone pretends it doesn't matter, and everyone judges it anyway. Somewhere, a viral video calls you the chillest animal alive, the Buddha of the swamp. This is a lie. Your calm is really a constant calculation. Run, float, pretend to be furniture. Being a capybara is a masterclass in low-stakes panic. Every rustle could be a caiman. Every shadow could be an anaconda. Every ripple could be the water saying, hey, have you met jaguars? You pretend you're unbothered, chewing with that eternal, zen grimace like a beige lawnmower. But you're not relaxed. You're buffering. You grow quickly, because grass does not have a lot of calories and stress burns them all. Your teeth never stop growing, the dental equivalent of a subscription you can't cancel. So you grind vegetation all day, every day, to keep your jaws from turning into ivory knitting needles. People call you giant guinea pigs, and that stings. Guinea pigs have apartments. You have mud. Let's talk about fashion. Your coat is brown. The kind of brown interior designers call earth-inspired, and your predators call appetizer. When you're dry, you look like a loaf of gluten-free bread, dense, earnest, and slightly apologetic. When you're wet, which is always, you glisten with the radiance of a freshly mopped hallway. Not majestic, not even cute, unless the lighting is perfect and someone adds lo-fi beats. Ah yes, the water. As a semi-aquatic rodent, you live in the Venn diagram where land meets swamp and everybody's ankles regret it. Your feet are webbed like a budget duck. You can hold your breath for minutes, eyes and nostrils just above the surface, like a periscope with imposter syndrome. If the herd spooks, you all stampede into the pond together, which is great until you remember that the pond is where the caimans keep their forks. Your neighbors are a traveling circus of disrespect. Egrets stand on your back to fish, because you flush insects and small creatures from the grass and they profit. Turtles treat you like an Uber. Even baby caimans sometimes crawl across you, because childhood is a lawless country. You are an animal so unthreatening that everything with feet assumes you are safe real estate. Somewhere, a human will write, capybara befriends everyone, and you will sigh, because this friendship is mostly you being a sofa. Your love life, complicated. You are a social rodent with social rules. There is a dominant male. He smells like authority because of a gland on his nose, yes, his nose, called the murillo. He marks everything. Grass, logs, you. The message is, this swamp and these vibes are mine. The rest of the males read the room and practice restraint, which in capybara language means pretending they weren't about to flirt with the same female. A female in season can start a stampede, a ripple of drama brighter than the tropical sun. The water churns. Affections mix with mud. Choirs of throaty whistles echo like landline modems connecting to romance. It is the least elegant ballet on earth. You learn your language, chirps, purrs, clicks, acoustic pings in the reed maze. To humans it sounds soothing. To capybaras it's spreadsheets. Where are you? Here. Where? Here, but wetter. Shush. Predator. Which predator? The one with the teeth. Your ears rotate like tiny satellite dishes, tuning through channels of gossip and danger. Your eyes sit high on your skull, so you can watch the horizon while most of your body remains in witness protection. You eat. That's your full-time job. Grass in the morning, water plants at noon, random greenery in the afternoon. Then more grass, because glamour. Your stomach is a multi-chambered debate club where rough fiber is argued into nutrition by bacteria who think they're chefs. You are efficient. Also, you practice coprophagy, let's call it recycling. No, you're not gross. You're environmental policy. You also mold stress like dandelion fluff. Thunder, into the water. Dog barking in the distance. Into the water. A distant branch falls in polite slow motion. You guessed it, into the water. Unfortunately, water means parasites, and parasites means skin you must constantly groom with your teeth, as if flossing your entire body. Another animal clambers onto you, assumes the free ride includes spa service, and you continue wearing your legendary expression, the face of someone pretending they meant to slip on the tile. You are a cultural icon, accidentally. Somewhere in a snowy country, people will put you into an outdoor hot spring. Cameras will arrive. The internet will clap. Capybaras love spa day, they say, while you stare into the middle distance calculating how many piranhas could live in the average bathtub. You're not blissful, you're processing. Let's check your enemies list. Caimans slide through the water like bad decisions. Anacondas hug a little too confidently. Jaguars are the final boss whose name appears with thunder. Even ocelots and pumas would like to speak to you about lunch. Your escape strategy is teamwork. Notice danger, whistle, stampede, splash, and pray that the predator mistakes your herd for a confusing weather event. When a caiman grabs a member of the herd, the rest of you freeze in an uncanny tableau of empathy and statistics. You care. You also like living. On land, your legs are pillars of caution. You gallop surprisingly well, the world's most earnest Ottoman trying out for track. In water, you become a buoyant submarine with opinions. You can even nap afloat, like a beanbag gone rogue. But buoyancy doesn't equal dignity, and dignity was never on your evolutionary roadmap anyway. You are a creature of daycare energy. Constant snacking, frequent bathing, group napping, and the occasional meltdown. Your childhood is brief. One day you are small, the next day you are medium, and the day after that you are expected to understand the policy manual. If hawk, water. If dog, water. If human with phone, pose. If human with dog, water faster. You learn the herd's map of safe trails and preferred slides, greasy lanes down muddy banks that capybaras polish with the persistence of river-powered zambonis. You can recognize the alarm call of your herd even across the lake, a signature ringtone that means, run now, ask questions never. Humans appear at the edge of your story with binoculars and opinions. They tag you, they track you, they write papers with titles like Temporal Partitioning of Capybaras Along Riparian Gradients, which is science for, we followed them around and they entered water whenever scared. Some humans love you so intensely they create entire sanctuaries around your vibes. Others love you so intensely they take you home, where you discover carpets, dishwashers, and the shocking revelation that sofas are just rectangular capybaras that don't bite. Even in human spaces, you remain yourself. A March gummy bear with anxiety. The dog thinks you're a meat Ottoman. The cat thinks you're a slow rumor. Children squeal. Someone plays bossa nova and calls it your theme. They put a small hat on your head. You do not fight this. You accept that you were born with a face that invites hats. You travel in a caravan of compromises. Dry land is snacks but also exposure. Water is safety but also teeth. Shade is cool but also mosquitoes. Sun is comfortable but also, why is my back a frying pan? Everything about your body is a negotiation. Eyes high, so you can see. Ears high, so you can hear. Nose high, so you can breathe. Feet webbed so you can paddle. Tail missing because evolution decided your butt was already interesting enough. When you rest together, piled against each other like living sandbags, sharing warmth and vigilance. Every few minutes someone twitches, and the whole heap synchronizes the twitch, a wave of communal uncertainty. Capybara naps look peaceful on camera because the cameraman edits out the part where someone burps algae. And still, the world persists in calling you relaxed. Chill, they say, as you calculate the physics of stampede angles. Zen, they say, as you test the wind for snake perfume. Friendly, they say, because everything from ducks to deer to literal crocodilians will stand near you without fear. They assume it's because you love them. It's because you are too busy managing your internal panic spreadsheet to care that a duck is currently auditioning for hat. Your teeth click when you're nervous. Your whiskers tremble when you're curious. You exhale like a bassoon when you give up arguing with gravity. Your soul is 70% water, 20% grass, and 10% the heavy knowledge that somewhere above you is an apex predator named after Spanish for never make eye contact. You cope by chewing, and chewing, and chewing some more, until the grass becomes you and you become the grass, and existential questions become fiber. If you are a male without a domain, you live in the margins, the edges of herds where the gossip is cold and the romance colder. You dream of a Murillo gland that changes the wind when you pass. You dream of marking logs with a confidence that screams CEO. Sometimes you try. Sometimes the dominant male turns your ambitions into a cautionary tale. You tell yourself you were never trying that hard anyway. You chew a reed and look philosophical. If you are a female, your world is buses of babies. Capybara daycare is a riverbank rave. 20 small potato shapes in a roving kindergarten, watched over by a committee of aunties who grimly accept that everyone's kid is everyone's responsibility. You shepherd them from grass to water to grass. They squeak. You answer. They squeak again. You sigh, the universal sigh of mothers across species and continents and swampy narratives. Ecosystems depend on you, no pressure. You trim grasses, fertilize banks, open pathways for smaller species. You are a gardener who never stops eating the garden. You are a dam inspector with no hard hat. When floods come, you ride the landscape like an elevator. When droughts bite, you dig in the mud to reach the last cool water, as if clawing relief from the earth itself. People call this resilience. You call it Tuesday. Perhaps the greatest indignity is fame. The internet made you a saint. Capybaras get along with everyone, they chirp, over a montage of you being used as furniture by creatures with pointy feet. You did not request sainthood. Sainthood was thrust upon you because the camera cut right before the caiman entered the chat. Your serenity sells mugs. And yet, in rare moments, you almost believe the myth. The swamp gilds itself in late light. The herd breathes in a lazy chorus. Something drifts down from the trees, a scent of flowers, or rot, who can say, and for 30 seconds the predators are busy elsewhere. You float, just the top of your head exposed, and your ears flick dragonfly wings from your crown. This is the footage they put in the compilations with spa music, the part that convinces everyone you are the oracle of calm. You know the truth. It's a coffee break between disasters. Age arrives gently, like a new layer of mud. Your steps slow, your naps deepen, your fur learns the language of burrs. Youngsters bounce around you with the kinetic arrogance of fresh legs. You watch them and think, I used to sprint like that. Then you remember sprinting is just falling forward with extra paperwork. The river writes your biography on your ankles in little nips from fish you can't be bothered to identify. You become very wise, by which we mean you choose the deepest water first and the newest grass last. What is the capybara's legacy? Ask the river. It will say, they came, they chewed, they swam, they made paths. Ask the heron. It will say, they were convenient. Ask the jaguar. It will consider you dinner and call this a compliment. Ask the internet. It will answer with a 30-second loop of you wearing a melon hat, captioned, "Me trying to stay calm." Here's the secret. You are calm. Not because the world is gentle, but because panic is heavy and you cannot carry it every minute. So you set it down. You graze. You float. You let the duck audition for your scalp because it brings the duck joy and costs you nothing. You let the turtle take a ride because the turtle committed to the bit. You let the children whistle and the aunties cluck and the cameras insist that your piece is proof that life is kind. It isn't. You're just very good at pretending. The end is never cinematic. It's ordinary. A dry season that goes long. A wet season that goes longer. A muddy slide that's slipperier than your confidence. A shadow in the reeds that meant nothing yesterday and means everything today. You do not compose a farewell speech. You stare into the water like you always have and measure your options in breaths. That, in the end, is the capybara miracle. You survive in heartbeats and mouthfuls, in float times and footfalls, in the small math of staying. You were born with the posture of a sofa, the patience of a saint, and the nerves of someone who knows the swamp keeps score. The world turned you into an emoji of serenity. The river turned you into a rumor of endurance. Predators turned you into a syllabus of caution. And through it all, you kept chewing, kept floating, kept choosing the water whenever thunder promised teeth. You are not feared. You are not admired in the way posters imagine. You are tolerated by birds, rented by turtles, filmed by humans, and audited by the food chain. You are the mascot of, "It could be worse." You are the punchline of, "Just vibe." You are the marsh's most dependable piece of furniture and its most uncertain citizen. You are, gloriously and relentlessly, born doomed, and somehow, against statistics and common sense, still here, still chewing, still floating like a beige boy on a river that never stops asking questions. And that's the joke, isn't it? For an animal built like a fuzzy ottoman, you carry an entire wetland's worth of chaos on your back and act like it's nothing. The camera will never capture the calculations you run, the alarms you pass, the way you measure distance between jaw and water with the precision of a poet who hates metaphors. People will say you're chill. Only the swamp knows you're busy. So yes, it sucks to be born as a capybara. It's mud and mosquitoes, drama and dentistry, predators and public transportation duties for regional birds. It's a lifetime of picking the least bad choice and calling it zen. But there is a kind of triumph in that. You are a professional survivor in a place that wants 1,000 little pieces of you. And every day you keep those pieces together long enough to float, graze, and pretend you meant to be a raft. The world will keep making compilations of your piece. Let them. You and the swamp will keep your secret. That beneath the calm is a heart that learned to beat quietly, so the jaguars wouldn't hear it. You were born in water. You learned to be furniture. You mastered the art of not panicking out loud. You will end as you lived, chewing, floating, listening, one ear on the wind, one eye on the reeds, and your whole soft body ready to choose the water one more time. Because you are a capybara. And you were, from the very first mouthful of grass, from the first duck that mistook you for a lift, from the first camera that misread your buffering for enlightenment, born doomed.